Okay, so you know that feeling right when you're just like craving that perfect beach day.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the sun on your skin, the gentle waves lapping at the shore, and just like total relaxation.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
But imagine instead of that bliss, you end up with like this unexpected prickly surprise in the water.
No, that's no good.
Not exactly what you're hoping for, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
Well, that's been the unfortunate reality for a bunch of people at Puri Beach lately.
Yeah, it's a real bummer.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah, we're taking a deep dive into these reports of tourists getting some pretty nasty skin irritations after being in the water.
Right, it's way worse than just like that usual sandy feeling you get.
Yeah, this is something else.
It's like you're picturing yourself cooling off with a nice swim, and then bam, you get this sticky, almost jelly-like thing brushing up against you.
Ugh, I can just imagine.
And then the itching starts, and some people are even saying it's straight up painful.
Ooh, that's rough.
It really throws a wrench in the whole relaxing beach day vibe.
Totally ruins it.
So naturally, we all think jellyfish, right?
Right, jellyfish are usually the prime suspect.
But what's really interesting is that when you bring in the science, it's not quite so simple.
Yeah, it gets a bit more complicated.
We're actually talking about a whole category of creatures called cnidarians.
Right, cnidarians.
And that includes all sorts of different jellyfish, but also things like hydroids.
Yeah, those are interesting.
And even corals, believe it or not.
Yeah, corals are actually in that group too.
So it was this whole big family, and a lot of them can sting as a defense mechanism or to catch their food.
It's their way of saying back off or come a little closer, depending on their intentions.
Exactly. So it might not be just a classic jellyfish invasion.
Right, it could be a whole crew of culprits.
And what we're seeing is that in just the past week, at least 50 tourists have needed medical attention because of these encounters.
Wow, 50, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's not just a couple of isolated incidents.
No, that's a serious pattern.
And the authorities are taking it seriously, too.
As they should.
A doctor named Dr. Narayan Prasad Nanda has confirmed these numbers.
Oh, okay, so it's official.
And get this, they're even planning on sending skin samples to a research center in Bhubaneswar.
Oh, wow. So they're really trying to get to the bottom of this.
Exactly. They want to figure out exactly what organism or organisms are causing this.
It's like a scientific detective story.
It really is, but with some very real consequences.
Yeah, those stings are no joke.
And here's something that really caught my eye. This isn't a one-time thing for Puri Beach.
Oh, really?
There have been reports like this before.
Interesting.
In April of last year and June of 2022, and even before Cyclone Yas back in May 2021.
Huh. So this has been going on for a while.
It makes you wonder what's going on there that keeps causing these events.
Yeah, why Puri Beach?
Right. It can't just be a coincidence.
No, probably not.
So it seems like we're not just talking about a little bit of itching here.
No, not at all.
These stings can have a real impact on people.
Yeah, it's not just a minor annoyance.
It can go way beyond a little bit of discomfort. And here's something that I found pretty surprising.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Even if you see a jellyfish washed up on the sand, like totally lifeless,
Right.
it can still sting you.
What? Even dead.
That just seems wrong somehow.
It does seem a little unfair.
But it's true, and it's super important to know for anyone going to the beach.
Okay, this is good to know.
Because those stinging cells, they're called nematocysts.
Nematocysts, okay.
They can stay active even after the jellyfish itself is gone.
So that harmless-looking blob on the beach could still pack a punch?
Exactly. You could get a nasty surprise if you touch it.
Wow, so they're like little time bombs.
It's kind of like that, or these tiny little harpoons, each with a thread that's coiled up and filled with venom.
Okay, like a little spring-loaded weapon.
And when they come into contact with something, it could be prey or a person's skin.
Right.
They fire off super fast, piercing the surface and injecting that venom.
Ouch, that sounds incredibly efficient.
It really is. It's a very effective defense mechanism for jellyfish.
Makes you wonder how they even came up with that.
Right. Nature is amazing and scary all at the same time.
Absolutely. And speaking of amazing and scary, the severity of a sting isn't the same for everyone, is it?
Not at all. There are a few things that come into play.
Yeah, like what?
Well, first off, the type of jellyfish or cnidarian makes a big difference.
Right, because some are going to have more potent venom than others.
Exactly. Some have different venom cocktails, basically.
Exactly, like a cocktail party gone wrong.
Exactly. But your own body plays a role, too.
So like if you're more sensitive or something.
Yeah, a child or someone with allergies or other health problems might have a much stronger reaction.
Right, their body might overreact a bit more.
And even where you get stung and how long the tentacles are touching your skin can make a difference.
Okay, so a quick brush is way better than getting tangled up.
Right, because it affects how much venom actually gets into your system.
That makes sense.
And speaking of potent venom, we've all heard about some of those really notorious jellyfish.
Oh, yeah. Like what kind?
The lion's mane jellyfish,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
and the sea nettle,
Uh-huh.
and the box jellyfish.
That one sounds particularly bad.
They're considered some of the most dangerous ones out there.
So like the heavy hitters of the jellyfish world?
Exactly. Their venom can cause a lot of pain and even affect your whole body.
Yikes. That's serious stuff.
Now, we don't know for sure if any of these are the culprits in Puri,
Right, they're still investigating.
but they're a good example of just how bad a sting can get.
Definitely a reminder to be cautious.
And the symptoms people experience can be all over the map.
Oh, like what kind of symptoms?
Well, you've got your intense rashes and muscle cramps.
Oh, okay, that already sounds bad.
But in severe cases, people can have trouble breathing,
Whoa, that's scary.
and abdominal pain, nausea, even excessive sweating.
Wow, that sounds truly miserable.
It really can turn a fun beach day into a medical emergency.
Absolutely, no one wants that.
And here's another thing to keep in mind. Some people have delayed reactions.
Oh, really? Like how delayed?
So you might get stung and think you're fine, but then days later,
Haha.
you break out in a red, bumpy, itchy rash.
So it's like a ticking time bomb of itchiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even if you think you escaped, you might want to keep an eye out for anything unusual in the days after a swim.
Good advice.
So this is all pretty concerning if you're planning a trip to Puri.
Yeah, it makes you think twice.
But don't cancel your plans just yet, because we've got some tips for you, our listeners.
Okay, hit us with the knowledge.
We're going to help you avoid becoming jellyfish snacks.
I love that phrase.
So the first and most important thing, always check with the lifeguards.
Oh yeah, the lifeguards are the experts.
They'll know what's up with the water conditions and if there have been any jellyfish sightings.
They're like the eyes and ears of the beach.
And if they issue any warnings, take them seriously.
Absolutely, they're not messing around.
It's not worth risking a painful encounter.
Agreed.
Now, what about protective clothing?
That's an interesting idea.
We saw a suggestion about wearing a bodysuit.
Oh, like a full body swimsuit.
Exactly, or a thin wetsuit.
Not exactly beach fashion.
I know it's not the most stylish look.
But hey, it could save you from a lot of pain.
Exactly. It creates a barrier between your skin and those stinging tentacles.
So it's like wearing armor to battle the jellyfish.
Pretty much. And it's a good option if you're really worried or if there have been a lot of jellyfish around.
Makes sense. Better safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And here's another simple but important tip. Be careful about anything weird floating in the water.
Okay, like what kind of weird?
Like if you see a gelatinous blob or anything you don't recognize.
Wait, anything suspect.
Steer clear.
Good advice.
And remember what we said about dead jellyfish.
Oh, right. Even the dead ones can sting.
Don't touch them, just leave them be.
Got it. Hands off the jellyfish, alive or dead.
Exactly. So a little bit of common sense, heeding those warnings, and maybe some strategic swimwear can go a long way.
Words to live by at the beach.
Now, I also stumbled across something pretty cool while I was researching this.
Okay, tell me more.
Apparently, scientists in Gujarat discovered a whole new species of jellyfish just last year.
Wow, that's awesome.
It just goes to show you the ocean is full of surprises.
And some of them sting.
Sadly, some of them do. But it's a good reminder that we're dealing with a whole ecosystem when we go into the ocean.
A complex and sometimes prickly ecosystem.
Exactly. So let's recap what we've learned in this deep dive into the sting situation at Puri Beach.
Okay, let's summarize.
Basically, we've got tourists experiencing stings from marine life, probably jellyfish or those related cnidarians.
Right, the usual suspects.
And these encounters can range from annoying to seriously painful and even dangerous.
Right, it's a spectrum of stinginess.
And this isn't a new thing for Puri, so there might be something going on there that's attracting these creatures.
Maybe it's the jellyfish equivalent of a 5-star resort.
Haha, possibly. And we also learned that even dead jellyfish can still get you.
Yeah, those sneaky stingers.
And we talked about how to avoid getting stung.
Right, those tips are key.
Checking with lifeguards, wearing protective clothing, and being cautious around anything suspicious in the water.
Knowledge is power when it comes to jellyfish encounters.
It really is. So next time you're heading to the beach, remember what we've talked about.
Stay safe out there.
Absolutely. But most importantly, have fun.
Have fun, but be mindful.
Exactly, because the ocean is an amazing place.
It is, but it has its own rules.
It definitely does. And sometimes those rules involve a little sting.
Well said, a little sting indeed.
So enjoy that perfect beach day.
Yes, enjoy it.
But keep an eye out for those jellyfish.
And all their stinging cousins.
Because you never know what surprises the ocean might have in store.
That's the beauty and the danger of it all.
Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.
And stay sting-free.